Okay, I think we'll go ahead and jump in and get going. First of all, my name is Anthony Romano. I'm the CEO here at Critelligent. Very honored that you've joined us today, and humbled to see north of 200 individuals registered for this masterclass from the likes of regional banks, credit unions, law firms, insurance companies, real estate investment trusts, CRE owner operators, and more. Super exciting. As existing clients of Critelligent, you know that we're an end-to-end provider of commercial real estate due diligence solutions. We do that from a technology platform that we're going to spend a lot of time on today called Radius, that really serves as an order management and workflow system, helping to eliminate for you the need to manage an army of vendors, eliminating the need for multiple phone calls and emails and Dropbox, with the whole goal of being more efficient, collapsing the cycle time of commercial real estate transactions, and providing a better experience. So today's session will be 30 minutes. I'd ask if you have questions at all during the session, please use the Q&A feature there in the Zoom toolbar, and we can respond to any of those questions, sort of at the end of today's webinar. We are continuing to make upgrades and enhancements to our Radius platform, largely based on the feedback from users like you. So without further ado, let me please introduce and turn this over to Travis Hickey, who heads our product management team, to share some of that functionality with you. Travis?
Awesome. Thank you, Anthony, and welcome everybody into this second session of the Radius Masterclass. And I know there's a lot of new folks joining this second session that probably did not join the first session. And so if you are interested in getting that initial session, which we have a recording of, we'll ask Gary to go ahead and drop a link in the chat to that YouTube video, and you can watch the first session offline when you're ready. But we'll go ahead and dive into this second session, which we've devoted to the concept of advanced property search. And this really extends beyond the concept of being able to search by address. So if you don't have an address, or the address is just not working out, what are some of the other tools built into Radius that can help you identify your parcel and get your products and services on order? There's a couple of other features in the search box, as well as some risk screening features that we'll cover. But without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive in and switch over to my Radius screen. For those of you that watched the first session, this should look pretty familiar, but for anybody that's seeing this for the first time, we have this property drawer over here on the left showing all of my saved properties. We have this beautiful map in the middle here just to help us with identifying where a property is in space. And then as soon as you're looking at a property, you can pick reports and services that you can place on order for that property immediately. So we'll cover that in a little bit greater detail as we go. But I wanted to start off by demonstrating something that we learned in session one, which is just searching by address. And so I'll start typing in an address here, and you'll see that automatically Google provides us with some autocomplete features. This is the property that I was looking for. This is the Golden One Center down here in Sacramento. So that's fairly easy, fairly intuitive, nothing new or indifferent there. But what you'll notice, if we get rid of this for just a second, what you'll notice is from a distance, we see the satellite map, which is great. But what happens when we start to zoom in, and if I get a little bit closer, this application sort of takes on a new life. Right now, as I hover over these individual parcels, I start to see content in the upper left-hand corner here, like the address, the number of acres, the ownership, and the parcel numbers. And I can scroll over any property in view here and get the same information, which is very helpful when you're trying to identify a property and maybe associated properties. And just to show how exactly that works, I'm going to take this property in particular, which I believe is the Westminster Presbyterian Church down here in Sacramento. Let's just say that this is the property that I'm interested in. I'm going to go ahead and say create, and that creates a new saved property over here. But before I save it, I want to take a look around and see if there's any other parcels that might be associated with this guy. When we know we're talking about the Westminster Presbyterian Church, and if I start looking at this set of parking lots across the alley, they're all owned by Westminster Presbyterian Church. So if I'm interested in including those in my due diligence efforts, then all I have to do is click on them and say add, and you'll see over here on the right, the new parcel get added to my saved property. And so I can go ahead and do that for all of the parcels here in question. And you'll see as I add them, they get added to these map pins over here on the left. Again, as you're adding these properties, you're going to see a variety of information that should help you validate that you're looking at the right property and that you're dealing with the right parcels. In this case, you can see there's a couple of automobile parking facilities associated with this church. And so those are the ones that we wanted to capture. So that's one way to do it, but there's also other ways to do this because clicking on each of these parcels might seem a little tedious. So if I go ahead and close this out, I'll just cancel. There's another way to do this, which is using our parcel drawing feature. So I'll go ahead and click the pencil that's down here in the bottom left-hand corner. As soon as I do that, now I have the ability to just draw a polygon around any properties that are relevant to me in my due diligence effort. And as soon as I do that, you can see the information pops up over here on the left related to that Presbyterian church. And I can go ahead and save this. I can add a name to it so that I can find it a little bit easier later on. If I have a reference number on hand that I want to associate it with, easy to do. I just drop it right in here and I click save. So that demonstrates how you can select multiple parcels or just draw your own polygon around any number of parcels that are relevant to you and save them as a saved property in Radius, and then begin your due diligence efforts, whether that's ordering online services, data and analytics products, site inspections, or opinionation products. There's some other interesting features for searching in Radius that I thought I'd bring to light as well. This search box, although it says internet address, really operates kind of like any Google search. So if you're interested in finding, let's say, a Taco Bell, if you start typing in Taco Bell, the Taco Bell I'm interested in particular is on Folsom Boulevard. And so without even knowing the address, I can immediately zoom over to this Taco Bell on Folsom Boulevard. And if I want to be sure that it's a Taco Bell, I can grab my peg man over here on the left, and I can drag him into this spot right here. And you can see right now he's looking to the left. He's looking at our parcel. If I drag him a little bit this way, he's looking across the street. So I want him looking at our parcel. So I'm gonna turn him so that he's looking that direction. And there's my Taco Bell. So that's the property that I was targeting. And I didn't even need to know an address. I can immediately save that property and I can start ordering other products and services. Now, an address or finding a parcel in space or using a product name or a business name is all great, but sometimes we have clients that come to us with nothing more than a parcel number. Parcel numbers can be very tricky. As you might know, there's a lot of different formats of parcel numbers. Sometimes they come with dashes. Sometimes they have a grouping of zeros at the end or a grouping of zeros at the beginning. And depending upon the county that property lives in, you might find that the parcel number you're searching for is really hard to find because maybe you have your parcel number formatted a little bit differently. So I just want to demonstrate how we tried to make that a little bit of a better experience. The first thing that I'm going to do is select the parcel ID search by, and then I'm going to start typing in my city state so that the application knows where to go searching for this parcel number. Oops, Golden River, California. Okay, so that's the general area where my parcel is. And I'm just going to take a parcel number that I know works. This might seem like cheating, but I just want to show you really quickly that, dropping in a parcel number will get you right to your property. But if by chance you've been given a parcel number without these zeros on the end, or perhaps you've been given a parcel number that has some dashes in it, it might be very hard in other applications to be sure that you got the right parcel. But in this case, if we click on the search again, we'll see that it actually finds that property regardless of how you formatted this parcel ID, as long as the root of the number is the same as what we're looking for in Gold River, California. And you can see that this APN is formatted completely differently than what we've provided here in the parcel ID. But despite all that, the application was able to find it. Now, in some cases, we might find more than one parcel ID that is a potential match for your parcel. And if that's the case, you'll get a pop-up box that asks you to pick the correct parcel. And in those cases, you may need to look at it on a map or look at the address in greater detail to see if you can determine which property is your target. So I'm going to go ahead and add a project name to this property, and I'll just call it my Coloma Road property. And the project name is just useful for you. It's a quick way to find properties that are relevant to you later on in your list of saved properties. And again, you can add a reference number, which can be any numeric or alpha character value that you want to save with the property. I'll go ahead and click save. So again, I can see my my property attributes still saved over here on the left. If I have documents associated with this property that I'd like to upload and store in Radius, I can do that. But otherwise, as you start to order products and services, they'll appear here below the property attributes, and you'll find that any documents associated with your parcel or with this property will appear in this documents folder. So now that we've got this property ready to go, I'd like to go ahead and take a look at a couple of different features as it relates to our product menu, of which is our click quote. Click quote is a quick and easy way for you to understand the quote for a particular product or service. In this case, I'm going to do a phase 1 quote. Now, under normal circumstances, and as Anthony was talking about, one of our goals is to collapse cycle time and to make your transaction as easy and quick as possible. So to do that, we've incorporated this click quote algorithm into a lot of our different site inspection products. If we're able to, based on the property information that we've collected, if we're able to, let me just grab the right, say that's a shopping center, I can click request quote, and the click quote will automatically calculate a list price for me for this phase 1. If I'm happy with that, I can immediately place that on order, or I can save it if I'd like to wait and compare it to other quotes that I might be waiting for. But you didn't have to wait for that one. All you had to do was populate the address, create a saved property, and click on the phase 1. We got that underway for you. There's some other products and services that we offer. There's instant reports like Enviro Prescreen, Enviro Prescreen Advanced. There's a property condition prescreen. There's commercial AVM. There's also some crime reports and similar types of reports. But each of those reports is actually included in a new product that we recently offer called Early Insights. And for those folks that are looking for a quick pre-screen product that crosses all of these categories and provides you with a single report that has several different pre-screen elements in it, the Early Insight product is the best choice. So I'm going to go ahead and kick one off here just to demonstrate how quickly you can get an Early Insight product. This is an instant product. So it's immediately going to start running over here on the left, and it says in progress. Now, if you're impatient like me, you might not want to sit here and wait what would ultimately be about 30 seconds for this to be a completed product. If you decide to browse away from here and go look at some other properties in your saved properties list, you'll notice you have this little spinner. And the spinner just lets you know that something's in progress. Okay, we're just running your report right now. As soon as it's done, the spinner will close like this spinner down here. And if we zoom into this property, you can see that we have an Enviro pre-screen that was completed a while back. And now I can view that Enviro pre-screen. It loads it up in a PDF preview, and I can take a look at the findings for my environmental due diligence. So if I pop back to my saved properties list, here's my Coloma Road property, the one I was just looking at. I've got a closed spinner letting me know that my my report is now complete. And here it is, completed and ready to view. Again, I can just click the eyeball, and that will load our internal PDF viewer. As I said, this early insights report crosses several different of our offered categories. So you'll get a property overview, which you can see here includes a top-down satellite picture of the property, along with several other critical property summary attributes like the building area, elevation, and improvement values, as well as a complete legal description. That comes standard with each early insight report. The rest of the content is optional, so you can choose to have an environmental insight included in your early insight report, which provides you with that early picture of environmental liability risk associated with this property. And you can see that this property has some underground storage tanks. So if I was seeing this as a part of my pre-screen, I definitely want to take note that I'm going to have some issues to deal with as I progress through my due diligence effort with this property. If I keep going, the next product in the list is this building insight. Building insight is focused on the structure and any recent permit activity. So you can see here we've got the year built, the number of buildings, the total square footage, and the roof year. And critically, the roof year is an indication of when was a roof last replaced. So this is a rather old roof. We're looking at 21 years old here at this point, and I can make a quick calculation based on the replacement costs, what kind of impact that's going to have fiscally on this particular property. I can also take a look at just recent permit activity, and we can see this property just had some work done last year. It looks like they're doing some new foundation work or doing some add-ons. So important information there to know if you're interested in this property. We also run a commercial AVM, an automated valuation model, and much like the Zestimate, this tries to calculate an objective opinion of value for this subject property. This is not an appraisal, just like you can't use the Zestimate for an appraisal. This is just a way to gauge value, and sometimes folks will use this to gauge value over time as well. So they'll run one this year and then they'll run one next year to see if their values have been impacted at all. If I keep going, we'll see we also have climate insights built into this report. In this case, in the Gold River area, looks like firestorm and high temperatures are pretty typical. And with our recent rainy season, apparently our drought is over, so the risk of drought has dropped significantly. If I keep going, we'll see the crime insight report, which is FBI crime statistics based on a quarter-mile radius from the subject property. Looks like there's a couple problems with aggravated assault, larceny, and so forth in this particular area. So this report, that's the end of this report, but this report is available on the Radius site, and it gives you, like I said, a good picture of a property and gives you that good early insight that you want before you commit any more dollars to this transaction. You want to make sure that you understand everything that's going on with your property. And when we create that property, we're reaching out to several different data providers, and this is something that we're very proud of. We like the fact that we're not one trick pony. We like to pull in lots of different data providers like Climate Check, Build Facts, Black Knight, And that is an advantage to you because we're doing all that heavy lifting. We're doing all that work to pull that content together for you in a single report. You don't have to maintain 10 different subscriptions with a bunch of different vendors. You can just maintain your subscription with Radius and get access to all those reports and services at the click of a button. So that is most of the content that I wanted to cover today. I have one more note about our next masterclass. Our next masterclass has to do with portfolio, and the goal with our portfolio application, which is very new, is that we wanted to make it so that everything that you can do in Radius for a single property, you can also do for a portfolio or group of properties. And so our next masterclass section will be focused on that functionality. In history, we've only really had a capability of monitoring, but we're expanding that dramatically. We're going to make Radius suitable to manage as many portfolios as you can dream up and order products and services for those portfolios in any interesting combinations. And as Anthony said, we are constantly taking feedback from our clients. It's our life's blood. That is what we use to decide what goes on our roadmap. It's what we use to decide how we change this website for the better. And so if you do have comments, suggestions, wants, you think that there's an opportunity to present something new in the site that would accelerate your own workflow, you can reach out to me directly, or you can simply email this email address, productfeedback@cretelligent.com. And I'll switch back over to the slide deck just so you can also capture my contact information if you need to reach out to me directly. But you can also just email anytime productfeedback@cretelligent.com, and that will get anything in that email attached to our roadmap. And we'll keep you in the loop as we start to build out those features and get them out there on the Radius website. I think that's my time, and I'd love to pass it back to Anthony to put a cherry on top, if you don't mind.
Sure. Well, thank you, Travis. And we've got, we've got about 7 minutes left. We've got a few questions that I'll read in a moment, but just sort of a couple points of emphasis. And one thing I'd be remiss not to say, it is not lost on us that the entire commercial real estate ecosystem is under a lot of pressure and challenge today in terms of transaction volumes and rates up and credit box tightening. So, our whole goal is to lean in and to assist you, whether you're buying a commercial property, you're lending on a commercial property, you're putting a specialty insurance policy on a commercial property. We want to help. So to Travis's point, when you looked at the data in Radius or the data in those early insights, please come to us. You want to see lien data, you want to see loan data and maturity data. Would you like to see micro market demographic data around income, around unemployment, things that would help you make a better decision before, during, and after a transaction? Travis mentioned 3 of the 25 data providers that we use. We hit those data providers, we curate the data, we normalize it, we put into a finished good report so that you can make a better decision. So we'd be keen on any sort of feedback you have on that. One other point, and one of the questions in the chat box was, hey, that click quote was great. Can you use it on more than a phase 1, which is what Travis demonstrated. We have property condition assessments, environmental transaction screens, phase 1s, ALTA surveys. Those are all what we call click quote enabled, and it looked really slick and sexy the way Travis showed it, but you need to know in the background there's a lot that goes on, right? Normally that's a 6 or 8 hour process. You email a vendor, can I get a price and a turn time? And again, half a day later you get back, hey, it's $1,800, we can do it in 11 days. We have built the technology because we know lot size, square footage, building complexity, NACS code, density of our panel, all the things that we require. So in about 85 or 90% of the cases on massively complex properties, you're not going to get a click quote. We'll go to consult, we'll get back to you in an hour. But 90% of the time, you're getting a quote, sort of right away. So I think that's important to point out. Travis, one of the questions that came over was mapping of land. The question that says that at times our parcels may not be touching, so not contiguous parcels. Normally we just choose the biggest parcel or parcels that touch. Does this allow us to choose different parcels that do not touch?
That is, yes, actually it does. And I did not mention that when I was pointing out this Presbyterian church, but if you'll notice, there's this alley in between the parcel that I initially selected and these parking lots across the alley. And so these parcels are not connected. Historically, we've required that the parcels be connected to consider them part of the same property. But we lifted that restriction. We also lifted the restriction that you can only select 5 parcels. So you can see that I can now add this property, which is across the alley, even though it's not contiguous. And if I want to get really fancy, or if I have a very complex property, I can select any other parcels in the neighborhood that are related to my subject property. And that will extend out beyond the subject property out to about a mile. So if your parcels are within a mile of themselves, then you should be able to select those without any restriction in the application.
Right.
Hopefully that answers that question.
Yep. No, very, very good. Thanks, Travis. Another question just came. What is the difference between early insights and a pre-screen? It's a super great question, because that nomenclature we even use internally differently. In my mind, everything that you're doing pre-LOI, site selection, real estate acquisition teams prior to a loan to look at potential risk on a market or a property, it's a whole category of what we call early insights. And inside of that, we have a number of pre-screens: an environmental pre-screen, a property condition pre-screen, an AVM prior to an appraisal, and then the product that the report that Travis just showed you, we deemed early insight, and that has elements of all of those reports inside of it. But we would tell you that based on your policy, based on what you're looking for, we can configure some of these reports any way you'd like. We've got all the underlying data. We've got the ability to white label these reports, provide different graphs and scoring. So, I'd just encourage you, and again, one of the questions just came up, what's the cost of some of these early insights? It really depends on subscription. If you're interested in any of those solutions, reach out to your client exec, reach out to a CSM. They'll get you all the data on subscriptions and pricing. And then if there are nuances on the way you'd like to see the data and other data elements, man, we'd be all ears to provide you more information. The fact that you don't have to go out to multiple sites and county websites and place phone calls, that's the whole goal here, is this becomes a one-stop shop for commercial real estate due diligence before, during, and after the transaction. So I want to thank everybody a ton for joining today. Know you guys are all busy, and we just appreciate that. Look for an email with a link to this recording. And then to Travis's point, our next session will be on the capabilities that Radius has for ongoing monitoring and surveillance of commercial real estate assets and portfolios. That's something that we watch people do on the back of a napkin or a spreadsheet today. We've got a whole module inside Radius that makes that super easy and really effective. So we look forward to that. Until then, thank you so much, and make it a great day. Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.